Well, I had some niche testing to do that I suppose I really didn't want to do, but I promised I would. It's one of these things where I hate having to break something. This is the niche grinder. This is the US one, same as the UK, just a different motor voltage. I have to unfortunately take this brand new super shiny lid and put it on this grinder. The US one was very, very early production, which meant the hinge system isn't exactly the same as this one. This was done just before they were sold. So I'm going to take this lid off, and it's quite simple. It's just one hex bolt there. You undo it, and I'm working around a camera here. You take off the lid. There we go. And then you just pop the new lid on. I think this is going to hurt me quite a lot. Again, putting the lid on is simple. You put the hex bolt through. There's a recessed or a countersunk part. You put the bolt through that. Put your screwdriver on it, and then drop the camera. Find the screw hole and screw it in place, and that's how you change the lid. The lid comes, if you ever have to buy a spare, with the hinge assembly as a complete spare. You just screw it in, and that's it, and that's the new lid. So I put a brand new hopper lid on the niche, and now I'm going to do some tests which involves a bit of abuse of the lid. Now, one of the things I guess is going to be the most common error is someone's going to reach behind the grinder and bang the lid like this, and the grinder's going to move, and of course the lid is fine. There's no cracking around the hinge. I'm just going to get my better glasses so that I can check. So yeah, imagine you're reaching for the grinder, you're reaching behind it, and we give the grinder, I'll take the grind cup off because I don't want that to fall off. But let's give the grinder a good old shake. Now, obviously I don't advise you do this with your niche, but and it still closes, still fits, no problem, and it hasn't broken at the back. As I say, people are a little concerned that the lid might be a bit weak. Let's go just down a bit so you can see the base, and we can give it a good. There we go. This is an early US model grinder. That's what the transformer is behind it, and it's actually pre-production. What I've had to do, why I had to put the new lid on, is the old lid. The new lid's slightly different from the old lid, and these are the lids that we used on all production grinders, not the old lid on the pre-production stuff. So I thought I'll put the new lid on this grinder. I didn't really want to shake the grinder about, but I had one of these, which is a top casting, to test it on. But again, I thought for realism, best we get a real grinder. Now, I don't like banging the grinder about. Let's give it a good bash, and let's get a tamper and give it a bit of a bash. That's heavy metal Reg Barber, and yeah, it seems okay. It hasn't shattered yet, and still closes, still opens. Yeah, so now I've got to actually break this, and I don't want to, but they've asked me to break it, and it's really not something I want to do. I want to make sure the screw's in tight, because actually I don't want to damage the thread hole. Let's give it a bit more. So, you know, if you're going to use your grinder like I am here, then I suppose if you're going to do it, carry it about by the lid, you know, if you're going to do that, maybe it'll break. But if you're worried that it's weak and you know, perhaps it's not. Perhaps it's okay. Now I'm looking to see if it's been cracked or broken, and no, the lid's still perfect. There's no break. I suppose I could try and photograph it, but you just have to take my word for it. The lid isn't broken. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to break the lid. When something works this well, you sort of feel bad about breaking it. Now, the only thing I should point out here, because this is an early production, well, not a production grow, it's pre-production, they put the magnet in here, and not in the lid. The lid was just a magnetic piece of metal attracted to the magnet. On final production, they had the piece of metal here that the magnet in the lid was attracted to. So of course we've got two magnets, and unfortunately they're at opposite poles, so it springs up because of that. But that's the only reason the two magnets are pushing apart. But yeah, I mean, really, where do I go from here? Let's drop the tamper on it a few more times. So you can see it's not breaking, and it hasn't really scratched, to be honest with you. Let's see, what else can I bring out? A little bit more abuse. See if I've got anything else I can hit it with. Yeah, I can hit it with that. Oh, I've got something bigger. Hit it with that. Okay. Well, my wife gets annoyed. I've got a heavier one here. Nice, big, heavy, thick one. Okay. So let's see if we managed to break it. No, not yet. We managed to chip it. Ooh. Maybe we might have just finally got a chip in it. It might be a mark in it. No, I think it's sort of okay. Okay. Now, if you really don't want to see this, look away. I'm bending the lid back now, way beyond where it can go, way beyond. We're gonna bend it. Okay. Well, that's not breaking. Haven't broken it yet. Martin wanted me to bend that back until it broke, and I'll be honest with you, I sort of feel if the lid has survived this much abuse, do you know what? I don't want to do this. Oh. I think personally, as I'm trying to push it down, I think it should be allowed to survive another day. What do you guys think? Do you think I should bend it till I break it, if I can? Or do you think it should survive to live another day? Leave your comments in the video. I'll be interested to know what you think. Does this lid deserve to survive, or does it have to be broken? I know what Martin would say, but yeah, I tell you what, I'm actually impressed. I'm hugely impressed. I'm having to put my hand underneath, I suppose it'll break, but hugely impressed with the strength of this lid. I mean, really, really strong. I mean, incredible. And not only the backwards force, but left and right as well. Really good. So no, that lid, as far as I'm concerned, it's earned its freedom, unless you guys vote it down and you want to see the lid die. Now this is the lid off the grinder. I don't know if you can see the hinge, but the hinges are all perfect. It's not distorted. After all that abuse, absolutely no problem. And back on goes the original lid, the pre-production lid, oddly enough, which I assume is as strong as the production lid, but I'm not going to try and test that out. Well, and there you go, there's a proper pre-production lid. No problem. Hopefully I haven't busted anything inside the grinder. We'll test that out. Lots of bits of coffee have fallen out. Let's see if our grinder still works. Grind cup. Oh yes. And if I've broken the grinder, that would upset me a little bit, I suppose. So I don't like breaking things. Oh, it's certainly cleaned the coffee out, the old coffee out of the grinder. The reason for making this video was because there was quite a few comments on forums expressed about how fragile the lid was going to be and the lid was going to break, and I think from this test, if anyone does come up with a broken lid, I think you're going to count me very, very surprised if anyone actually ends up being able to physically break a lid by accident. Yeah, that was a phone, so I'll just tip the old beans in, put my little lid on. It's difficult working around the camera. Here we go. And yeah, it still seems to be dry, it hasn't broken anyway. Yeah, well, that looks great. It's quite a nice coffee, this one. So I'm going to go and enjoy this coffee, and like I say, vote in the video whether you want to see the lid die or not, and I'll consider killing it.